Go west. That's what they told young men in America's pioneering days. Well, it's the same today in China. The government's spending a fortune trying to raise living standards in its west nearer to those of the prosperous east. But with every new piece of track laid, Beijing will head further into controversy. Because this line's heading into Tibet. 50 years after Chinese troops invaded Tibet, Beijing has begun what will be one of the world's great feats of engineering and one of the most controversial. Exiled Tibetan critics describe the line as their worst nightmare. China's takeover of Tibet has never been officially recognized internationally, and its regime has been widely criticized as repressive, a charge Beijing denies. It says the new railway line is just what Tibet needs.
As to the life of the Tibetans, I think the building of this railway will have a positive impact rather than a negative one. Local people will be able, for example, to get more construction material and food. It will also be good for the local job market. So I don't see any bad things for the local people.
The railway will certainly make a big difference as far as getting people onto and off the high Tibetan plateau, currently accessed by an arduous road journey. But improving access for people and goods doesn't necessarily mean improvements in other aspects of Tibetan life.
Tibet is a pure land. After the railway is built, more people will come to Tibet, polluting it more than it is now. If a place is hard to get to, people will have a strong memory of it, and it is precious. The face of Tibet will be changed soon if it's easy for anybody to go there, easy for everybody to go there.
The Chinese are building the railway line for political as much as economic reasons. The West is full of ethnic minorities, so Beijing maintains its grip and any semblance of national unity by moving Chinese to the region. Tibetans are already outnumbered by settlers from China, and critics of the new railway line say it'll be used to swamp the region, killing off its ethnic and cultural identity. The government says it will allow greater exchanges, but the only exchange that exiled Tibetans foresee is Chinese migrants for Tibet's natural resources. This is all assuming that the Chinese can overcome the problems of funding and engineering. The last stretch of railway line from the east crosses the salt marshes and plains of the Kaidam Basin in Qinghai Province, heading for the current terminus at Golmud. Hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of Chinese migrants have passed this way, heading for the special tax breaks and bonuses on offer in Tibet. Golmud is a bit like an old frontier town. These people are here seeking new opportunities, better jobs, a fresh start, either here in Golmud or further into what for most of them is the unknown world of Tibet. Ethnic minorities such as Muslims are everywhere here. It's partly to appease them and offset any signs of social or political turmoil that Beijing has been willing to pour funds into the area. Some of that money has gone missing through bad management or corruption scandals, but enough seems to have filtered down to attract entrepreneurs looking for their big break in life.
The central government has given a lot of publicity to the Going West program. All the businessmen are very attracted to it. So we came here to try our luck. Also, I heard that tens of billions of yuan will be invested in the Qinghai-Tibet railway by the government. So we've also come to seek opportunities with this project.
It's not certain exactly how much the railway line will cost, nor when it'll be finished, but here at Golmud signs of development are everywhere. The authorities are anticipating growth in the resident population as well as those just passing through. But while investing in the region, they're also taking out what they can. This is the Golmud oil refinery, easily accessible because of the railway line to the east. Tibet also has oil as well as gas, vast reserves of metals including gold and silver, plus significant deposits of resources like uranium. There are already hints that much of this will be taken away along the new line.
The exploration of natural resources in Qinghai Basin is still at a very low level. As the Western development strategy is being carried out, the investment on the exploration will be increased. However, the exploration in Qinghai is still very limited. After the Qinghai-Tibet railway is built, the production of our plant will be extended.
As always with Tibet, the Chinese reject any allegations of repression, maintaining that what they do is for the good of the region as well as China as a whole. The Qinghai Basin salt is exploited, and presumably at least some of the money raised is used to develop the area. But Tibetan exiles do not want Chinese exploitation of Tibet. They have already urged multinational corporations not to cooperate with China's plans for their homeland. They see Chinese development as interference that threatens the entire Tibetan way of life. Any extraction of natural resources should benefit local people, not the huge population of Chinese migrants, nor the government in Beijing. The authorities insist that while taking away with one hand, they're giving with the other. The railway line's physical impact could also be a problem. Opponents say clearing the land, building bridges and viaducts, and digging tunnels will ruin a unique environment. The railway planners say this has been taken into account, and they've also solved technical problems such as building on land that freezes, then thaws. They certainly have plenty of railway engineering experience. The railway line will probably closely follow the Qinghai to Lhasa highway that was constructed in the 1950s. It runs for around 1,000 kilometers, and the complete journey takes several days. Roadside stall holders, often migrants, are prominent near the start. But the climate can be harsh around passes such as Kunlun, almost 5,000 meters up and made more colorful by travelers' prayers for good luck. This part of Tibet is sparsely populated and generally home to nomadic herders. But some have decided, or been persuaded, to settle down. Is this changing lifestyle proof of Tibetan exiles' claims that their homeland is being irreversibly stripped of its identity, or simply an example of what's happening to many nomadic societies throughout the world? It's often difficult to establish the facts in Tibet. Further along the highway, where it seems only trucks disturb the tranquility, there's an indicator of the authorities' often stated support for Tibetan culture. This school visit was allowed so that the cameras could show the children learning Tibetan, although as elsewhere in China, Mandarin is also taught. But China's critics say that supporting Tibetan as an everyday language is not enough. They believe that Tibet's capital, Lhasa, is being changed beyond recognition by Chinese migration. The symbols of a prominent Buddhist lifestyle are still there, as are the ubiquitous monks. But the critics believe everything is strictly controlled by the authorities. The new line will make that control even easier.
In our hometown, we only have a small piece of land farm and cannot make enough money to support our children in school. This is why we came here.
Whatever the rights and wrongs of China's involvement in Tibet, its control is already firm. The railway will simply serve to confirm its hold on a troubled region. Each new section of track symbolizes China's tightening grip. Whatever it takes, China is determined to complete the railway to Lhasa. Failure would not only mean a loss of face, but a huge boost to the supporters of a free Tibet.